Morning, YouTube. So I just wanted to continue with my my theme, I guess, of like sharing sources. So I was I got to thinking how difficult it is to like fully grasp the things that are going on without having some kind of framework or understanding in order to be able to grasp that bigger picture. And this is a problem that I've encountered many times, and it's taken me several years to like even be able to like zoom out my lens so that I can see the bigger picture. But I want to talk about like some sources that have kind of helped me with that, and you know, take them or leave them. But like most people are kind of like in their bubble, right? Most people cannot even see beyond their bubble. Most people are doing good if they do see just a little bit beyond their bubble. And that's just how humans are. We've got so much things going on a day-to-day basis that it's not something that we just stop and think about that often. So a good example, I'll include the video, the link in the description below. I recently, a couple months ago, saw this video. I love Carl Sagan, by the way, and I'm like really into like physics and stuff. There's a video that he did where he's like trying to explain the fourth dimension. We are third dimensional beings, right? So it's almost impossible for us to comprehend, wrap our minds around the fourth dimension, right? And he just does a really good job of like explaining it. And he also does a good job of like explaining how a second dimensional being would understand the third dimension. And it's like you do the best that you can to like kind of approach that understanding, but still it's almost impossible. So that's kind of how I feel. It's the same way. Like if you are looking at a situation, things that are going on in the world, things that are even just going on in your country or in your own neighborhood, and unless you have this understanding to fully grasp it, it just doesn't make sense. And so the video today is going to offer some sources to maybe offer that understanding, that framework of understanding. For me, Michel Foucault, I know he's really dense. A lot of people, like I learned about him in college, and he's very dense. He's very dense to read. It's something that you would probably need to read a couple times, but his framework of understanding is, it centers around, or it focuses on power, truth and power. And that's fascinating to me. I've read a lot of his stuff. So I have here with me a book. See that? Michel Foucault, Power. And it's just like a collection of his lectures and interviews. They're really fascinating. And there's one, I think it's a lecture that he gives that's called Truth and Power. I just want to read a quick little excerpt that might be of use to you. This is from his lecture, Truth and Power. Each society has its regime of truth, its general politics of truth. That is, the types of discourse it accepts and makes function as true, the mechanisms and instances that enable one to distinguish true and false statements, the means by which each is sanctioned, the techniques and procedures accorded value in the acquisition of truth, the status of those who are charged with saying what contains or what counts as true. So this is what kind of the point I was making in my previous video, where I said the facts are handed down to us from authority. But where do they get their facts? You have to understand that everything that is disseminated to the public has already gone through an information filter. I mean, we're not getting raw information. We're not. You have to really dig for raw information. You have to search for it. You have to know what to look for. The information that we get is handed down to us from the voice of authority, and usually it's not questioned because it's coming from authority. That's why I like Foucault, because he kind of talks a lot about that. I've read a lot of his books, Madness and Civilization. What is the other one? No, not Crime and Punishment. The Birth of the Clinic. I don't know, he has several books. Let me see, what's the other one? Discipline and Punish, yes. But this one I think is easier to read than some of the other ones, just because it's kind of just like him giving lectures. And I found it very helpful to like kind of sort of craft my own framework of understanding. So I encourage anyone to find out more about him. I'll include some links to his books in the description below. And what else was I going to say? Okay, another person who's been very helpful, he's probably another person that's going to be kind of dense to read, is Friedrich Nietzsche. Specifically his Genealogy of Morals. Genealogy of Morals. Now that one, I found it for free, a PDF online, and I'll include that link in the description. I'll also include a link to his book if anybody wants hard copies. Sometimes I prefer hard copies. Sometimes online versions are not that easy to read, but I'll take what I can get, right? Anyways, his Genealogy of Morals kind of explains how throughout history, the morals that the values that we as a society decide are worthy values, they change over time. So, I mean, this is the same thing to me anyways as how information is handed to us from authority. It's already gone through an information filter. It's already been decided by, you know, other people what is true and what is not. And then the facts are just passed down to us, and we can either accept them and go about our business. I mean, we really don't have that hard of a job to do. We just accept what we're told. I mean, that's basically it. It's when you start questioning it, or you start wondering, that doesn't really make sense, you know, and then you start digging, that's when you really get closer to the real truth, right? So that's kind of why I'm suggesting and I'm encouraging people to check these books out. Basically, the moral of the story is to just you always have to look outside of yourself. You always have to look outside of your bubble to get anything that even resembles the truth. Because inside of your bubble, it's an echo chamber, and you're, you know, just going to be told what you already agree with, what you already want to hear. And so I'm going to give 2 examples of that. So when I was a Democrat, inside my Democratic bubble, I was always told the Republicans are evil, and I just accepted that, and I never really listened to them. Or maybe if I would listen to them, like occasionally I would listen to Fox News, but inside my mind I was just not really listening. I was just, you know, like saying, you know, shutting them up in my mind. I was like, oh, you're so stupid. I can't believe you're saying stuff like that. You know, I wasn't really listening. I wasn't paying attention. I was just basically, I don't know, insulting them. So it wasn't until I started like really listening to conservatives, you know, Jordan Peterson, Ben Shapiro, Candace Owens, just people, I'm going to say it, I'm probably going to get a lot of crap for this, but even Milo Yiannopoulos. I was like a secret fangirl of Milo Yiannopoulos when I was still a Democrat. I never told anybody that because, like, I just love to watch him basically wreck all these little college students that would ask him dumb questions, and he would just totally rip them to shreds. I loved watching that, even though there was some cognitive dissonance there because I was one of those little liberals that he, you know what I mean? But I just started listening to other people outside of my bubble, and that helped me kind of form, you know, a different framework now to view the world. I have a different worldview now. And so my second example is like flat earthers, okay? I'm not a flat earther, and I'm not convinced that the earth is flat, but I got to the point where I started questioning, like, I don't know what the earth looks like. I've never seen the earth with these eyes. Like, I've never gone up into space and seen what the earth looks like. So maybe they have something to say, right? So I checked them out. I checked out some of their evidence, and I wasn't convinced. That's not to say that they might not come up with something later that might convince me. You got to step it up, though, because so far their evidence is lacking. But my point is, you always have to step outside of your bubble. You can't just stay inside of your bubble and just hold on to a certain mindset and not ever question it, not ever see what other people are saying. So that's kind of the video for today. I'll include all the links in the description, and I hope everybody has a happy Monday. It's casual Monday for me at work, so I'm wearing my Vegeta shirt because I love Vegeta. So anyways, thank you everyone for subscribing. Please like and subscribe and share if you find this video interesting. Bye.